Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another show of Fuente and Merrifield present Meet the Professor. Hello, everybody out there. I hope you're having a wonderful Sunday. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an extraordinary guest of honor on the show today for you. What a surprise it is. What an honor it is for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jorge Padron. Jorge, welcome to the show.
Jeremiah, how are you?
Well,
good to be here.
I'm doing great, Jorge, and I have to admit that I have goosebumps all over my body today because this is a very special moment for us, as you know, for my family, for me. I mean, for Carlito Fuente, for Professor, for everybody out there. But this is very special to me, very, very special to me. And as we spoke about a few minutes ago before the show, I mean, it would have been such an honor and a pleasure for Dad to be here and to watch you and Carlito get on this show together and show the world what it is to be a big family. You know how much respect and love he had for you and for your father. And I'm getting very emotional right now, but I think you and many other people understand it. But before we go there, I think we have some people that want to say hello to you. Papo.
Yeah, Papo. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to TV Land.
What's up, Carlito?
My name is Captain Kangaroo. Jorge.
Good, and you?
Good, bro. Good. Trying to adjust. Let's see.
Trying to adjust. I was just listening to Jeremiah talk about his dad, and I have such great memories of Rick. You know, crazy, man. Rick went to Nicaragua one day, showed up there, stayed at my house with Jeanette and my father, and he was eating like black beans and rice and all this. And you know how Rick was, like 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, he could eat for 4 people too, man. He was thin as a rail, but strong.
That's what my dad would say. He'd say, "Where the hell do you put the food, man?" I mean, this guy would eat like 3 or 4 times, serve himself 3 or 4 times. And I remember him walking around the factory, and he would look at my dad, and he would smell the tobacco, and he's like, "You know, you guys do things the right way here." And then I was saying, reminding Jeremiah, I mean, he was crazy enough to send his son Josh to spend a year with us over there to learn about how to ferment and how to cure tobacco. I don't know what Josh learned, but
he earned this nickname Yagua.
My dad would get on him all the time. Every time we were there, he never let him.
Hey, he told me that he went there to learn about tobacco and everything from the very best in the world. And they would wake him up at 2:30 in the morning or something like that. He says, "Get up. We got to build some benches. We got to build some chairs. We got to build some cigar tables. Get up." He said he spent half of his time not sleeping, making benches. And
hey, that's the Padron School of Technology, man.
Yeah. One day he got home a little late. He was not supposed to. So your father let him sleep more than 3 hours after that. He used to wake him up 2, 3 in the morning. So he knew he'd be so tired by 10 o'clock.
He was busting his chops from the minute he landed in Nicaragua to the day he left.
Listen, I don't know what you guys did to my brother, but I can tell you he was never the same afterwards. And for some reason, he had to mail out child support every month since then.
Well, I won't even get into that part of the. Let's just say that as far as how it goes, his education in cigars, not in other things. But he did improve his Spanish tremendously while he was there.
Anyway, Carlito, we had bets on that you would be on time. So Jorge took the bet you wouldn't be on time. So I think he made like $1,200. So.
You see, I'm sweating. I just came.
Hey, I told him.
I came hauling butt down Douglas, and then I went through 42nd trying to get here because I was doing some shopping and buying myself some watermelon. Doing the stuff that I haven't been able to do in a while.
Well, he asked me if I had to bet. What would I bet? I said I bet the house. He's not going to be here on time.
You lost the house by 2 seconds. And that's because the program started 5 minutes late.
There you go.
Guess who was taking the bets, Carlito?
Anyway, so Jorge, for us, it's a pleasure. I didn't see you at the show this year. We see each other at the show or at TAA or whatever it is, and it's really it's a great day for us to have you here. And later on the show, I mean, the world, to be honest, is waiting for you and Carlito to talk about a project. But this part of the show, let's go to the serious part, which it's not that the collaboration is not serious, but let's try to pick your brain a bit. George, you were born the same way Carlito was into the business. You probably, as a kid, played with the bales, seeing your father working. Your father, as the same as Don Carlos, was a man of respect, a man that would just look at you and you know that you had screwed up or something. And Don Jose was very talented, hard worker. So when did you you went to school, you graduated, but off and on, I imagine you would be going to Nicaragua, being in Miami at the factory. So when did you officially start to work at Padron Cigars?
Well, I mean, officially, I started working in the company just right after I graduated from college in 1990. And I worked a couple of years, a year, and then I went back and got my MBA, and I was out for about a year and a half, and then I came back in full time after that. But going back to the early days, we used to, on Flagler, I remember, being there before my dad built, not the building that we're in now, but the one we were in before on Flagler and 16th. I remember going there as, a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, running around in the back. My brother was there, Orly, and my sister Elizabeth worked there, and my cousin Rudy. So, I mean, obviously we're all a lot younger, and, Rudy was the one that was a bully. He's the one that would tie me up and put me in cigar box in the cartons of the shipping cartons, throw me in there and tie me up, hog tie me back there. And then I would fight with him. So, I mean, we had a great time. It was, it was a lot of family stuff, basically, and obviously things weren't like they are today. It was like being in the hood kind of, it was nothing like it is now, nothing. So, but it was always fun.
No, I could imagine. And Rudy, we've read about it and we've heard played a very important part when your father went to Cuba and got, released for so many peoples. I mean, your father not only was a businessman, but a man that cared for his fellow brothers and sisters and just people out of there. And the story is that I guess a bomb was put there and Rudy found it. Can you give us a little bit of details on that?
Yeah, basically, I mean, they planted a bomb in the factory, and Rudy was the first one there in the morning, and he saw the package, and he opened it up. And, I mean, what can I tell you? I mean, the guy's fucking nuts, But I'll tell you what, though, if you're in a dark alley, you want that guy to be with you. That's the type of guy that he is, So nothing. He basically was there until the police came, and I don't know all the details. I mean, I think the bomb squad came in and they basically told Rudy that he was crazy, and pulled him out. But that's how it was back then. And like you said, my dad was a unique individual. I mean, he was obviously someone dedicated to cigars, and that was his calling in life. But he was much more than a cigar guy. I mean, the guy, he was a complete individual that basically, went through many life experiences, ups and downs, a lot of struggles, and, was never fazed really by anything. I mean, he was a tough guy mentally, real mentally tough, which is a lot different than being physically tough and mentally weak. You know what I mean? My dad was a guy that didn't, he was always positive. He always treated people with respect. He was always focused, and I don't know. I mean, it's just there aren't enough things I could say about him. About him and how he conducted himself in all of the years that I was around him. Someone that demanded respect based on his actions, not on his words. And he was always someone that led by example. And I think that's something that I saw in him, and how he treated people, especially our employees in Nicaragua who adored him. Our employees in Nicaragua to this day, have banners of my father all over the factory and pictures and flowers and memorials to him. I mean, it's actually very, very rewarding to see that, you know, to see the love that they have for him. And it also gives me, you know, what I strive for is to achieve that same level of respect that he achieved, you know, from his employees. You know, to be able to be revered like he was is a tremendous thing, but that comes with time. It comes, you know, in going through these very difficult trials and tribulations and how you treat people, and that's how, you know, that's how it ends up at the end. So
No, definitely. I mean, the respect that your father and what he created, and a lot of people don't understand. You know, your father was, your family was in tobacco back in Cuba, so he was forced out of the country, came here, and he went through hell and back. But you know, he never gave up, and he was always persistent about what he wanted in life.
yeah, well, I mean, I was talking to Carlos, the other day, and you know, one of the most important things I think that we talk about when him and I are talking about our fathers is the humility that they showed day in and day out. You know, people that achieved a tremendous level of success, and yet they never forgot where they came from. You know, they always stayed humble. They always had that humility to them. I don't know. I just think it was a beautiful thing to see, honestly. I mean, you know, while you're growing up, sometimes you don't appreciate those things. You don't, you know, you're not there yet. You know, maturity wise, you don't appreciate certain things until you get older. And as you get older, you start to appreciate all of those little things that go into making that person the way he is, you know? So again, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have been by his side as I was, and to have had a leader in him like I did and like our company did. So hopefully I can maintain that tradition and keep that going. You know, that's my plan.
Well, it's you've done a great job. You continue his legacy, the respect, the quality of making cigars. Now, let me ask you this, because Jose Orlando, the same as Don Carlos, was a different generation, but always believe in quality, and treating their people well. But how hard was it for you to convince sometimes your father on some ideas?
Look, it's like anything. You have to earn the respect. Okay. Of course, when I got out of college, I thought I was, you know, hot shot, you know, like coming out. I had all these ideas, and my dad quickly put me down back to reality and say, listen, buddy, you know, I'm glad you went to school and I'm glad of all that, but now you got to prove yourself in this arena. Okay. And when and he didn't actually say it that way, but basically that's the way he was. I mean, he wasn't a guy, my dad was not like one of those guys that would be patting you on the back and, oh, great job, you know, you did this really well. No. He was basically, if you didn't hear from him, it's because things were good. And if you fucked up, he would tell you right away. So some people, you know, that depends on the person also that's receiving that. You know, some people can take that and they don't need that reinforcement all the time. Other people, they never get over that and they feel like they need that reinforcement. Luckily, I'm not the type of guy that needs that constant reinforcement. And I knew that if he wasn't saying anything to me, it's because I was doing things right. And I would say it took me probably about a good 10 years to really like get to the point where, you know, my dad would look at me and basically trust me 100%. You know, he knew that if I suggested something, you know, he could trust that I had thought it through carefully, and he would go with it. I mean, I'm not saying in all cases, but the majority of the cases. And obviously that changed considerably over the years. I mean, obviously when I came in and the anniversary was a big, you know, that was a big part of our development, you know, the coming out with that line a couple of years after we went to actually 1 year after our first trade show. And, you know, my brother, Orlando, was also involved, and we were all involved. And as a family, you know, we decided to come out with this cigar. I don't think that if we would have been around, my brother and I and all of us, showing that we were interested in you know, in maintaining and keeping to and developing the business further, he may have stayed where he was. I don't know. You know, I don't know what would have happened. But fortunately, I think he saw an opportunity in us, in our family, to go forward and say, you know what, let's give these guys a shot. Let's give them a chance to do something. And you know what? And it worked out. You know, it worked out well. He bet on us, and we didn't let him down. So that's the key.
George, a lot of people, you know how people are. They tell you, look, we're never going to have an opportunity to ask George Padron this. So a lot of people said, ask George the following. And I would like to hear it from you. You guys have been so successful during years and years and years and years and years. And all of a sudden, you guys decide to do Connecticut. I mean, the whole industry was surprised. What was the thought behind that? If you could elaborate a little bit, because I'm curious too.
I mean,
I have to say, George, I'm pretty curious as well.
well, I mean, the one thing that you can't do is get boxed in ever, you know? And although we've been very conservative in how we approach this business, it doesn't mean that there are many opportunities that we could take advantage of, either now or in the future. I saw the Connecticut as an opportunity to expose many consumers to our product that may have not have otherwise smoked a Padron for whatever reason. You know, for some people, our cigars might be a little too strong or too full-bodied. So, you know, many times people would walk into a humidor and ask for a milder cigar, and there wasn't an option in a Padron. And that's something that I thought we should change, because what I've always strived for is to be in the mix. You know, I don't expect anyone to just Padron. I figure most people are going to smoke multiple brands, maybe 2, 3, 4 brands that they rotate or that they're loyal to. And if I'm one of those 4 or one of those 3 or one of the 2, I'm happy. I'm good. But I thought that there was a lot of consumers out there that would have smoked a Padron, but they didn't because they were just too strong. So by having this product, it puts us in that category. Right now, when someone walks into a humidor and talks to a tobacconist, I'm looking for a mild cigar or a milder blend, now they have something to offer in Padron, which we did not have before we did this. So, you know, obviously it took some convincing with my dad. You know, my dad was a very traditional guy, but again, you know, he trusted me, and he said, fine, let's do it. And you know what? It's been successful. You know, the brand, it takes time to build brands. You know, it doesn't happen overnight, but the brand has done very well. So,
without a doubt, George. All of a sudden, your father gets sick. Unfortunately, he dies. It was something that hit the industry in a way that, you know, it hit us all. The respect, admiration that everybody had for your father. All of a sudden, your dad is not there, that has been instrumental in the company. And I have to say, you guys have done an amazing job, because after his death, everything has continued well. How was that first 2 or 3 months, not your father there guiding you guys? Even though I don't think it's about guidance, but you know, having the El Patriarca there, it's very important. Yes.
Let me tell you, man, it was very strange. I mean, it was it was strange. You know, from running the company, nothing really changed in terms of running the company, because you know, my dad already prior to his death, probably 3 or 4 years, he would come into the office all the time, but he wasn't as involved in the day-to-day operation of the business. You know, we were doing that pretty much, you know, leading up to his death, and we were doing it consistently. But after his death, it was very strange, because, you know, you have someone that has been coming into the office every day. I mean, he was coming into the office every single day until about 2 months prior to his death. So he would come in, he would go to his office, he would sit at his desk, he would watch TV, smoke cigars. We'd go in there, talk to him. I mean, you know, he'd come out, he'd sit with us. he just loved to be there. He loved to be in the mix. He wanted to know what was going on. I mean, when he got sick and he was in the hospital, I came to see him, and the first thing he did is he had this book, right? So we have all of our sales, obviously on the computers and all that, but he had this one book that he would ask me to print every day. I would give him a report of what was sold. And then at the end of the month, I would give him a sheet that had everyday sales and the total sales for with a year to date number on it. And he had this stack of papers that he would punch a hole in it and put it on his desk. So he didn't have a computer, but he knew everything that was happening in the business. And like 2 days, a month, 3 weeks before he passed away, I come into the hospital, and he was there, and I'm like, Dad, what's up? How you doing? He's like, no, how do we do today on sales? Bring me my book. I want to see it and update it. Make sure that all the numbers are there up until yesterday. I want to see everything. So he sat there in the hospital room with his glasses on, with his little pencil, a number 2 pencil, writing down notes, adding, subtracting, getting percentages. So listen, I'm sure Carlos was the same way. These guys, they lived it. They lived it. They breathed it. They didn't give a crap about anything else, vacations, nothing. These guys were the epitome of cigar guys. And that's all that they cared about.
Yeah. Well, George, that's absolutely right. I've, grown up, and just like you and Carlito, with these very strong characters around us. And as much as they made our lives hell, they made it paradise at the same time. They were strong as shit, but they lit that flame, and they made us who we are today, whatever that is. But
well, I think that they understood that it's a big responsibility to assume. It's big to assume the responsibility of running these companies. We don't take this lightly. We're following in the footsteps of titans in the industry. So what I always told people is that my job is to not fuck it up, man. I don't want to fuck this up. So I believe me, I am on everything that happens in this business, and I'm fortunate that I have all my family around me to help me. We got a good team. We got a good team of people. We got, I got my brother Orlando. I have my nephews Marcos and Jeff. I have my niece Kimberly, Rudy. Now my other niece Jessica's coming into. Also Melissa maybe will come back. My son Jorge Luis is working with us now, and my 2 nephews, once they graduate, will hopefully come to work too. So my daughter Daniela,
you can go on for the next 2 days, because I've never seen a factory or an office where you walk in and it's like a Christmas holiday. The entire fucking family is in there. Every single one of them is there.
At some points you don't understand that, right? You say, well, we have too many, but you know what? It's very rewarding. I got to tell you, it's very, very rewarding. When it works, it's very rewarding. And if everybody buys in, and everybody's everybody's understanding what the game plan is, and understands their roles, and understands what they have to do, you know what? It's a win-win, and we all win. And I think that my dad made a very conscious effort to ensure that there would be family unity, and that there would be, in this transition, that things would stay stable. And that didn't happen, just before he died. He built that foundation from many, many years ago, and that's a thing, that those foundations take time to build and establish. So when it comes to a time like this, when my dad passes away, the foundation is there. Now it's just a matter of executing and making sure that everybody understands, right? And and that's how it's been. That's really it. That really is how it's been. I'm very, very proud of my family, of the way that they've responded, especially with this COVID situation. Everybody stepped up to the plate. We've worked harder than ever. And I'm very, very happy. I really am. I'm very happy that I have my family with me, and that everybody's united, and there isn't any bickering, and everybody understands their roles. And if I have to tell somebody that they messed up, I tell them. I'm not afraid to do that, and they don't get angry about it, So it's good. It's a good thing.
It's good, and I'm sure that you and everybody else including your dad up there, are damn proud of everything. It's unique, and this is the magic of the industry and of some of the players in it, where family is such an important word, and it's such a valuable word. You know, here you are keeping the traditions, keeping the values, keeping the education, keeping, you know, every single bit of emotion alive, which is something which is dying out in our industry. We have to be honest about it. And very, very few people are able and willing to maintain it. And actually, we're having messages through the roof here, but I do want to make sure that you hear, George, that Cynthia Fuente is sending you her love. Liana Fuente is sending you her love. The entire Fuente family, every single one of them is on here sending. I have these emojis of hearts and kisses and whatnot, which are being pointed in your direction. My brother Joshua, you know, just everybody's out there sending huge hugs and kisses to the one and only George Padron, and I think it's absolutely beautiful. And George,
well, listen, there's a lot of there. I think that it's important to understand that this industry has been built on the family traditions, not only from the manufacturing side, but also in terms of distribution, retail sales. You know, you can't underestimate the passion and the power that is. You know, to have. You know, I remember my first trade shows and seeing all the people that were there, and most of them are still in the business. And now there's been new people coming in that are great. It's a great thing to have, you know, new people coming young. There's a lot of young blood in the business, and you know, they may have marketing strategies that are different than mine, or you know, products that are different. But I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I think that the more, you know, as long as people are committed to doing things the right way and they produce products, you know, with passion and with quality, I think that there's room. You know, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered, man. You know.
Yeah,
and that's why I tell you that my goal has never been to be the only cigar, but if I want to be in the mix, I want to be, if you're smoking 3 brands, I want to be one of them. That's all I'm asking for.
Well,
I just want to be one of the 3, man.
I'm
or one of
smiling
the
because
2, or one of the 2, or the 1.
The one, exactly. There's a gentleman on here, and you're gonna remember, and you're gonna smile. This is going back over 20 years ago when you were a kid. You were younger than me, actually. You were much younger than me, and we were all together down in the south of Belgium, and you were there with your father, and there was a young man called Fabien Carlo who invited you in his house for dinner, and he's sending you his love. So talking about the retailers out there, I mean, you've really been by everybody hand in hand since the first days, since the days that, you know, the cigars were sent over outside of the US and people were discovering what a non-Cuban cigar was.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I was very fortunate. I mean, I came in at the right time, and you know, I had a lot of help from my family that was there at the time, and we were able to, you know, listen. When I started working in the company, you know, my father we already had an established brand. It wasn't, I mean, obviously, it wasn't where it is today, but you know, my dad it was a 27-year-old company. You know, so it wasn't like it was just started. And he had sold over 60, 70, or maybe 80 million cigars already. So, you know, for me, the challenge was to get it out, you know, because you know, he was selling mostly in Miami to all the Cubans. And, you know, when I graduated, that I started working there, I started noticing, you know, shit, I said to my dad, if we don't get out of this market and develop new markets, we're done. Because all these Cubans, you know, they're all in their 70s, 80s, and they're not going to be around much longer. So we have to, you know, look for new customers, people to expand the brand. And I think that my father was very clear, and he understood the importance of that. But I will tell you that selling cigars to the Cubans, I mean, in Miami was not an easy thing. I mean, I talk to people all the time about this. I mean, nowadays, when a customer goes into a retail store, he'll buy a box of cigars, you know, without checking the cigars. He just picks it off the shelf and takes a box or takes individual cigars. In Miami, when I started working, I had a guy, we were selling number 4s or Fumas, right? Number 4s would sell for, I think, $16 a box of 25 cigars. This is in the 80s. And a customer would walk in to buy 1 box, and I'd have to show him about 25 boxes. I mean, he would open every single box and inspect every single cigar. And then finally he would pick 1 box. So things were a lot different back then, in how people purchase cigars. Obviously that's changed now. Most that doesn't happen as much. That doesn't happen now, but so they were a very demanding customer, I will tell you. So I did learn good there with those guys.
All right, I'm going to pull Jose back on because there are questions that is just burning his lips, and he's going to chop my lower part of the body off if I don't pull him back onto the show.
George, you, Lito, the Newmans, Carlito, 8 or 10 people have played a very, very important role on CRA fighting against legislation, tax, FDA, and all that. And I'm going to tell you what I have said after the ruling. I think we all have to unite. We have to forget a little bit about the past. We have to put personal agendas and egos aside. So I'll ask you the same question. Your thoughts on the ruling, and what do you think we all should do?
Well, obviously my thoughts on the ruling are, I'm very happy with the ruling. The ruling basically gave us life. It gives us a chance to live to fight another day. The fight is not over. This is still going to come back, but at least for now, we're in a much better place than we would have been on September 8th had this not happened, had this ruling not happened. As far as the unity, I think it's always important to have unity in the industry. I think one of the problems that we've had in the industry is that for many years, we've been we've been in a category of cigars that maybe are not the same as the types of products that we have. And what I've always thought is the fairest thing to do is to separate premium cigars out of these categories and create its own category. Let us fight our own fights as we see fit and as we feel are for the premium cigar category, and not involve other cigars. So that way everybody can do their own thing and fight their fights as they see fit and strategically as best as they can. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to do that. I think that one of the biggest things that's come out of this ruling is that for once they have defined a premium cigar. So that's an important development that I think for the future is going to be very important. And I think that our job now, as it has been mentioned in the past, is to unite and to have all the people that believe in this definition and that believe in this to go forward and fight in favor of that definition and to get the best possible outcome that we can.
George, you've been extremely active in the Cigar Rights of America. You've been unbelievably active. You've been a big player, and you've done so much in pushing this forward and making sure that today, if a consumer in the United States can enjoy a premium cigar, some of that is a lot of that is thanks to your hard work, you and Carlito and other people. Tell us a little bit more about the organization and what it is you do and how you guys participate in pushing this forward. Because I remember walking into your office and seeing it's like walking into a mafia meeting, you and Carlito and everybody else around that table in your conference room discussing the ins and outs of the CRA.
Listen, it's not a perfect organization. We realize that there are things that have to be improved. But I think that the mission of the CRA from the beginning was the CRA came out after the S-chip situation back in the late 2000s, 2009, I think it was, or 2008. I'm not even sure what year. But basically what it was is it was formed to give a voice to companies like ours, like our family businesses that maybe felt weren't represented how they should have been represented. We also were interested in getting participation from consumers. And, honestly, it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge to get financial stability to fight these fights that we've tried to fight. But I think that there's been a huge commitment from companies, and there are many that have contributed significantly to the CRA, not just monetarily, but also by their time. Obviously Carlos and I Rocky Patel, Lito Gomez has helped a lot too. Alan Rubin, I mean, Drew Newman, Robbie Levin, I mean, Pete Johnson. I mean, there's a lot of people that really care about what we're talking about here, and they understand the importance of getting our voice out and understand the importance of defending what we're defending, right? Which is our family businesses. We want to make sure that we are able to fight these fights how we want to fight them, and strategically how we think is the best way to fight them. So, I think when we talk about this, it's important to realize that there are many people that have put a lot of time, personal time, into this fight. This is not about one or two people. This is a group of people, a group of manufacturers that realized that it was time to step up to the plate and start doing these things in order to get our voice and get our voice out. Now, as Carlos mentioned in one of the last calls that we were on, that doesn't mean that everybody contributes. There are many that have not contributed, or that we feel haven't contributed what they should contribute. And hopefully now with this decision, and with things developing as they are now, hopefully those people will think about this again and realize that this is an important job that needs to be done and it needs to be finished, and we'll have greater contribution from those.
Jorge, if I may add to that, this is not my show, it's your show. But I have to say, I just can't be myself. And I would think my father and your father looking down at me saying, Carlito, don't stay quiet when you feel something. For so many years, we went to so many meetings. I remember those meetings in the building. I remember the meetings in Washington, D.C. with meeting with the big companies so we could unite with the big companies so that we could come out with a definition. And we tried to work out with everybody. And then at the end, we found out that we were alone, that there was just Trojan horses that were sending to have meetings with us. And for years and years and years, I was so frustrated, and sometimes I lost my cool when I hit the table in front of people, because I was told by these big boys that we're spinning our wheels and we're wasting our money, that we would never be able to achieve these things. There was even companies that started putting the warning labels way before it became law, which created great problems in front of the judge for our defense, for our attorney. And what really bothered me worse, when I asked so many retailers, people that I knew who have big faith in, who have been in this industry a long time, why don't you do more? He says, no, so-and-so from such a company, they said that CRA will never get the results, that they could never get a favorable judgment. That is impossible. Well, moving forward, there's no warning labels on any boxes, any premium cigar. Moving forward, that September 9th date, which was a nightmare, which would have eliminated probably 80% of the small mom and pop companies, would eliminate so many mom and pop stores who, like you said, your father and my father, we don't forget where we come from. And how many times have we been on a table and we've been told by the big boys, what are you two worried about? You guys are going to survive. You're going to eliminate all the competition. And my answer was always, I was small once. And we don't have a future if the small, creative young people are not allowed to come into our neighborhood. We have to promote the youth. We have to promote the new ideas, and we're all one. And today, everybody's benefit. So I hope that everyone who's listening to this show will step up to the pump and join us for this, to be able to protect our rights, to enjoy illegal products, and preserve a culture, a heritage of industry that goes back hundreds of years.
No, Carlito, no question. I mean, I was in the same meeting, so we know what, at least we've understood what the mission is, right? The mission is to preserve our traditions and to preserve the heritage of what our companies are all about. As you stated, if this would have been around when I came out of college, I would have been dead. There's no way we could have been able to develop all the products that we've developed. So people like me that are coming into this business now, or that have come in since this started, would have never had an opportunity to show what they can do, And as I said on the call with the FDA thing, you know what? let the product speak for itself, man. Anyone can have a chance to succeed here. You just got to be able to make the products that people want to buy and smoke. And I take that as a challenge myself every day. That's what drives me. And that's why I'm never resting on my laurels, because I know that there's people out there that are very talented, that are producing a lot of great products. And I'm always constantly looking at that. I'm saying, I want to maintain what I got, and I want to improve. And that's a good thing, man. The competition is good in that sense,
Well,
so I think that now we have breathing room, at least for a few years. Let's see what happens.
What you're saying,
Padron, hijo de Jose Orlando Padron. I want to confess something. The reason I had confidence to just go all out and really spill my emotions in many of these meetings, because I know that you were there. I'm old enough to be your father, but I knew you were there. You're a lot stronger than me, and I know that we were back to back. We were back to back, and we were a good team, man. We were a good tag team. You know that, because you and I have the same philosophy. We think so much the same. You're just a lot stronger and a lot younger, but I was young too. I want to show you some pictures so we don't.
Hey, I think you're being a little too hard on yourself, man. I'm not that young. Come on, man.
It's okay. No, but really, it was teamwork along with everybody else. But I felt confidence with you being there, and kicking me under the table sometimes to, wake up, say something,
No, listen, we have a really good team at the CRA. Honestly, I got to tell you, there's been a lot of people that have put a lot of time, and as Carlos said, it's not just money; it's a lot of time traveling to Washington, meeting with congressmen, senators,
retailers. You have Gary Pesh, and you have Corey, who has stepped in from Oliva.
That's right, Corey from Oliva, guys, contributed so much time.
Yes.
All these guys, Pete Johnson, Rocky. I mean, these guys spend half their time in Washington. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of people that really care about this industry. And, I'm just happy to be a part of the CRA. I'm happy to be in the position that I'm in to try to influence this thing going forward. I do it with the best intentions. I'm only looking to make sure that I have an opportunity to give to my son the same opportunity that I was given. And I would hope that some of my other colleagues in the business feel the same way. Let these kids prove themselves, let them prove what they can do. And those who make the products that people want to buy will be successful. And those that don't will fall by the wayside. And that's the way it should be.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
But it's very important to remember one thing, and that is that cigars are global. And the Cigar Rights of America has done an unbelievable job of lobbying in the United States of America, around the globe, but particularly in the United States of America. And the American consumers have gotten behind the Cigar Rights of America and must continue to get behind the Cigar Rights of America, because at the end of the day, there's only so much a manufacturer can do. It's the people out there that need to get behind it, send in a buck, sign a petition, whatever it might be, but get behind the people who are trying to make sure that there is an industry tomorrow. And on that note, I would like to make a very important announcement, an extremely important announcement to the world today, because there is a Cigar Rights of America, but we need to make sure that the smokers worldwide protect the heritage, protect their rights. And we have therefore decided that we will create an international organization which will get behind the Cigar Rights of America. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cigar Rights of the world is born today. The Cigar Rights of the world will be behind the Cigar Rights of America. Will give the opportunity for all the people on the international markets who want to get behind these guys and help them out. And every member of the Cigar Rights of the world will be a member of the Cigar Rights of America indirectly.
That's huge, Jeremiah. On behalf of Cigar Rights of America, Jorge Padron, and the entire CRA board, this is something that is wonderful and it's good because it's one world. We're all one. To join for all cigar lovers, all people who enjoy the leaf, enjoy the companionship, the bonding it brings, the social bonding, and all the wonderful things that you can only find in a cigar. I thank you for this, for this great news. And, we'll have meetings together. We'll all get together and we'll extend hugs all around the world. Nothing will make us happier than to be able to achieve that.
Meetings together. I'm going to pull out now.
I just want to do a party. I've been locked down for 6 months or so. I just want to party, man.
We are getting so many comments and messages. There's hundreds of people out there asking, how can we help? People in Singapore, people in Australia, people in Bali, people in Dubai. And there's a big opportunity. Everybody wants to help, and we need to get everybody on board one way or another and make sure that we protect this industry. And the Cigar Rights of America is the leading example in the world. The leading example that every single one of us, in terms of manufacturers, in terms of growers, and in terms of consumers, should be looking up to and following.
Messages, but this is a message for a friend of all of ours, dear friend to Carlito, to Jorge, to Jeremiah, myself. First of all, he says, give my love, and here's a question for him. Once upon a time, during a visit to Esteli at the factory, I was giving a small box, I might add, of a 1965 Aniversario blend in a Lancero. When I'm going to get another box, maybe a bigger box, that is from your good friend or our good friend, Gordon Mott.
I laugh at that because my dad was always terrified of making those damn cigars. He always said, no, they're going to be plugged. You can't make it. It's very hard to make that cigar. I don't want to do it. And, it's a pain in the ass to make those long cigars like that, those Lanceros. But I think for my good friend, Gordon, I think we could probably figure something out and I'll make him cigars now.
Make a few extra for me, Jorge. We'll do a trade.
I mean, Gordon has been on our show, and I mean, he's a dear friend. Gordon and I talk every 2 or 3 weeks. He's a big Red Sox fan. I'm a big Yankee fan. So
I'm a big Red Sox fan.
I don't want to hear that.
Anyway, the minute that this young, beautiful, good-looking man who worked for the New York Yankees married my daughter, that's the day I became a Boston Red Sox. Rest in peace, Waddy Ford, Joe Peppertone, Bobby Richardson, Tom Tresh. I forgot about all the guys.
Hey, Jeremiah, cut him off, please.
Yeah, it's about time. Hey, listen, guys, we've been making everybody wait for 49 minutes and 58 seconds. There is a question which is burning on everybody's lips. I'm not going to ask it because Jose's going to cut my balls off. But please, Jose, will you do us the honor?
I'm sorry, my children are watching this show. You have to make our disclaimer, Jeremiah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, this show is being broadcasted out of Basel, Switzerland. There's going to be strong language. There's going maybe to be a little bit of flesh, but whatever the case, it's all legally okay.
Okay. First of all, also, Jorge Ciro Cachella sends you his respect and his regards. He's one of Carlito's man down there. He's done.
Of course, I know Cito well. Cito, thank you, Cito. Same to you.
Cito, it's Sunday, and I know what Cito's doing right now. And for him being the show, Jorge, he has a great admiration for you. And you know what? I'm going to
as I do for him.
Thank you. I'm going to tear up that pink slip, man. I'm going to tear it up.
Okay, guys. The moment of truth has arrived. Like I told Jorge before the show, and Carlito and I have talked about it. Jeremiah have talked to us. I was
Jose, hold on a second.
What?
I think it's time for Melanie's hotspot.
Okay.
Melanie, it's all you.
What's up? I don't know if you can see me or not, but
what's up, young lady? How you doing?
What is up? I'm doing great. How are you guys? Happy Sunday.
You've had a busy weekend with Liana, with Cynthia, with everybody, with Arlene, Angela, everybody chiming in.
I do. So I will mention that there are these masks that you guys can buy and purchase, and $10. It's $14 a mask, and $10 of it goes to Liana's fundraiser. So for breast cancer. So if you guys want to do that, you can go, and there's a link on my page. You'll see it. So go do that. And then also I would say that follow us on Facebook. We have our Facebook page. Make sure that you guys follow that. Also follow us in our group and ask questions. If you want Jose to answer them, we can put him to work since he's at home. Just kidding. And also, you guys, let me see. I think I would like to ask George, what is, I don't know. What would be your, I don't know, what's an embarrassing moment that you might have had either with or without Carlito? Because you could always drag him into it.
With or without Carlito? Holy shit. Having a hard time thinking of it.
I'll while you're thinking about it, I'll show you my cigar.
There you go, 90th. That's a natural.
Yes, it is.
Natural
so
90th.
Is this the one that was made for, or like in recognition of your father? That
cigar we introduced when my dad turned 90 years old. That's why we launched it.
Yeah.
That's what it was for.
That's awesome. It's really good.
Think of a moment with Carlos. I mean, you know, when I'm with Carlos, I tend to behave pretty good. You know, I don't like to disappoint the man. You know, I know that Carlos is a very straight-laced guy.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
who the hell
Jeremiah,
contains himself when he's with Carlos?
Oh my God.
Jeremiah. Don't go there.
There might be some instances, but we certainly are not going to talk about them right now on this show. We'll have to keep those private.
We've never talked about anything else but CRA, tobacco, our children, our family. It's all. I think that's as far as our conversation is going.
All right. So then I'll ask another question. If you right now, if you won the lottery and had everything that you ever wanted in the world, would there be anywhere else that you would want to be right now?
No. I mean, listen. There's no way. We're, like I said, I mean, I was born into this. You know, I made the decision to get into this business. I'm happy where I'm at. It's very rewarding. I wake up every day, you know, hungry, you know, wanting to improve and wanting to get better. So absolutely not. I would be right where I'm at. I wouldn't change a thing.
Have you donated to Liana Fuente's cause?
No, I have not actually. I've donated to the Cigar Family charity, but I will donate to Liana. I know that this is a high-pressure sales pitch here. Tell Liana that she can count on the Padrons.
No,
all right, there you go. There's the hot spot, and we win.
Always.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Melanie.
I have special memories, and this is about the Padron family. And every time I used to go to the office for CRA meeting, aside from the cafecito, which is the best and everything, whenever the old man was there, and we refer to el viejo, the old man, out of respect. That's very Cubano, el viejo. You know, I know Don Orlando since I was in Nicaragua back in the 70s, and I knew of him from the 60s, late 60s, because he controlled Miami. He controlled La Calle Ocho. And that was it. And we sold a lot more cigars, but we sold cheap cigars. We sold Moya, and they had the only business of handmade cigars, and we couldn't give our handmade cigars away. But you know, we go back a long time with a lot of respect and everything. But every time I used to go to Miami, Jorge would be gracious and tell me the old man is here, and I would see him and everything and kiss him on the. I'm going to tell you an embarrassing moment right now, Jorge. I'm going to tell you an embarrassing moment.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna say it, but anyway, Jose Orlando, or Orlando, as I know him as Orlando, he would come in, he'd kiss me on the cheek, I kiss him on the cheek. There was always great respect. And one day I'm leaving, and he calls me, "Oye, Carlito, come here. You got your checkbook with you?" And I said, "Yeah, I happen to have it in my briefcase. Take it out right now. Give me a check Give me a check right now. Give me a check for so much money. This is for the veterans. These people bust their butts for us and everything. Give me a check. You know, he wouldn't do that with anybody, but he said, and I'm right there, I wrote a check and everything what he asked me for. And it's always been that relationship. But I'm going to tell you an embarrassing moment. One day, Jorge tells his father that I'm there. I'm sitting, but I'm far away from the door where you walk in, and Jorge's sitting right there next to the door. His father comes in, kisses him and everything, like, all this stuff. And he goes, hey, Carlito. And he says, Jorge, you, in Spanish, did you tell Carlito what they told me? Or I think he went to somebody from Cuba or Cuba Tobacco. I forgot. I don't know. There's only 2 good cigars in the world. Did you tell them what they told? It's Padron and Fuente. Padron and Fuente. There are only 2 cigars that are worthy of any kind of acclaim or recognition. And I remember every manufacturer was there. We're having a meeting, and Jorge's trying to tell his father. But when you get to that age, he was about 89, 88. Or it was.
He didn't care, man.
He didn't give a shit. Okay. No. My father was the same way. Whatever he felt. And Jorge's Papi, aquí no, Papi, aquí not here, Papi. This is not the minute, Dad. This is not the minute.
Well, that's the thing
that's an embarrassing moment. It was an embarrassing moment for me. I wanted to hide my head under the table.
Well, no, I mean, I had a lot of moments with my father that, I couldn't repeat what he was saying. He didn't speak English that well, so I would translate for him all the time. He'd say one thing and I'd say a complete opposite,
I'll tell you one moment that I was there. And I tell you, who could tell you about a difficult moment for you when I don't know what city we were in, when we were invited all together to go to Cigar Aficionado dinner. And your father says, Gordon introduced him, and Gordon's on the call, but it's difficult. Gordon could talk about it. Introduced him, and he says, Jorge, translate for me. And your father says, they're not going to have one ad until they tell the true story. Your father had the biggest balls. And you know what? It's monumental ball, whatever it was. He said what he felt and everything. And listening to you, I identify with everything you say about the love for our fathers and everything. And I think this leads into a question that Jose wants to ask you. I think this is the perfect moment.
Go for it.
All right. We're going to have to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is what many of you have been waiting for the past hour. Jose, you ready? Am I going to pull Jose back onto the show?
He's probably feeding the ducks, man. Call him.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so I was telling Jorge pre-show, Carlito and Jeremiah today, that I was up to 12 o'clock last night. And when I get up early in the morning, like Carlito says, and I don't know how many people called me. I don't know how many messages I had on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, personal emails about what happened. I consider this not only the news of the day. I'm going to baptize it as the news of the decade. So with no further interruption, and Jorge's going to lead on this. And I know you guys are not going to get into all the details, but please tell us how this idea came up, because everybody's taken, half of the people are drunk, people are on pills, people have smoked 20 cigars today. There's people all over the world waiting to hear the details of what I consider maybe one of the greatest unions of 2 great tobacco companies. So Jorge Padron, mi querido amigo.
Professor, for all the people out there who have not heard the news yet, will you please announce it?
Well, the news is, for those that didn't see it, it's a collaboration between the Fuente family and the Padron family, honoring 2 of the greatest tobacco people that have ever existed, Don Carlos Fuente and Don Jose Orlando Padron. So, George, it's an honor for us to hear it here at the Meet the Professor first.
Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. George Padron. George?
Well, look, Jose, to answer that question, obviously, over the last several years, Carlos and I have had the opportunity to spend a lot of time together in a lot of different situations. Many have been very pleasant, and others for whatever reason, haven't been as pleasant because of the things that were being discussed. But I think that the idea of this doesn't come up from one specific incident. This is something that's been that I feel has sort of been brewing for a long time. I mean, our companies have, although obviously Fuente is a lot larger company than we are, in terms of the volume of business, but at the essence of the company is the same, right? The essence of both of our companies is the same. They were both led by very, very strong individuals of high character that had a certain way of looking at things and how they approached the business, their employees, their family, their people, everything. Like for me, when people ask, well, where did the idea come from? Listen, this idea has been there. It just now, in conversations with Carlos over the last couple of years, it was a natural thing. I mean, this is something that makes total sense. It'll be a fun thing to do. I'm excited as hell about it, to do it. I trust Carlos implicitly. I trust his family, and I think he feels the same way about me and our family. And what nicer thing to do, for our fathers who I think, although they didn't get a lot of time to spend together because one lived in here and the other one in the Dominican, and everybody's always busy and everybody's traveling. But every time that they saw each other, there was a certain level of respect there that you just can't measure. I can't even explain it to you. It's sort of one of those situations when you don't say a word and it's just there. It's just one of those things that it's magical in a way, that they're looking at each other and they're probably saying this motherfucker is a badass. And Carlos was saying that about my dad, and my dad was saying that about Carlos, because they know what it takes to get to where they're at. And I think that there was a deep appreciation there for not only where they were at, but how they got there. And I think that now, given the situation that both of them have passed, I think this is a good way to give a good example to the rest of our family that, there's a lot to this business. It's not just about selling cigars. And, this project is not so much only about making the cigars, but it's about everything else that leads up to the point where that cigar actually gets launched. And, I know that my niece Jessica and my nephew Jeffrey, for example, are already talking to Leanna about ideas, and they're doing things, so that's awesome. That's really what this is all about, right? Is how do we show the world that this industry is an industry that is predominantly an industry dominated by families, and how many other industries do you have that you think you could pull this off in? I mean, I don't think that there are many that could do this. And, I think that over time in all these conversations that Carlos and I had, it just got to a point where we said, this is what we got to do, and I think that our fathers would be very proud of us to the fact that we even thought of the idea. And, I think that they would have been happy to see that the family aspect of it is being preserved, and that it's actually the highlight of this whole project, and that's, listen, I'm excited as hell about it. I'm going to work my ass off to make the best damn cigar I can, for Carlos. And, the fact that Carlito and the Fuente family has put that trust in me is something that I look at with a great sense of responsibility to make sure that we do the right thing by Carlos in his honor, and for all the work that he accomplished and everything that he accomplished in his life.
I totally agree, Jorge. Feel the same. This is about paying tribute, is demonstrating our love, not only for our fathers, but what our fathers had taught us by example, as you said, not through words, through hard work, and to leave something for our children. It's like that magical tobacco seed, and not getting poetic about anything. But I think that in life, if you go through life, you could be the wealthiest and most successful person in the world and accomplish so many things that people might have thought were impossible. But if you don't leave that seed, you don't plant that seed, you leave it for the next generation, then your time of life was meaningless, in my opinion. And to me, it's all about the future. I know we go back many years, we go back and you go back many generations, but I think it's about the future. And one thing that it's absolutely true. This is something that this was destiny. And to me, this destino is very, very powerful. This was destiny. I would never make a cigar for someone. No, I know that your father or you would never make a cigar like that. So it's just not the way we were taught old school. You know, you shut your doors down. You don't worry about anybody else. You don't speak about anybody else. You just try to do the best you can every single day, every moment of your life to try to produce the best cigar as humanly possible. That's your school. That's my school. But to have the opportunity, and this is something, you know, I remember we're in meetings, we're stressed out, we're going to these meetings, we're in the middle of lawsuits, we got to come up with to pay our lawyers and everything to save the industry, to save the mom and pops, to save the brick and mortar, because that was our goal, to save families. And what does it mean? We're stressed out and everything. We see we're getting little support from so many other people who could support us the most and who should have supported us the most. And we sit back and you say, hey, Carlito, everybody had left it. Don't go. I remember that. Don't leave. How would you like a scotch, man? And nobody offers me a free scotch whiskey that I refuse. Anyway, we go back to your little area, sofa area. You take, let's say I got Chevis 18, which is your father's scotch, and I have Hague or Pinch, which is my father. Yeah, Pinch, Hague and Hague. Rich used to call it Jeremiah's father used to call it Hague and Hague.
Dimple.
In Europe, it was called Dimple or Hague.
Hey, okay.
Pinch in the United States.
Okay.
Yeah, because on the bottle it says Hague and Hague on it.
Yeah.
And if you remember correctly, guys, in those days there was a 40% and a 43%.
I got it, Jeremiah. We'll talk about
I've had that one too.
And my father used to bust your balls that the 40% was shit, and it wasn't worth nothing.
No, my father used to drink Chevis 12. That was his thing. And one day the people from Chevis even gave him a special bottle. They said, this shit ain't the same anymore. And you think about a man that only went to the 8th grade. This does not the shit. They probably thought he was crazy. He goes, not the same. And it was your father, Richard Marifel, who said, of course, Carlos. It was 43 point something percent or whatever it was, alcohol. Now it's 40%. So my father says the 18 Chevis, the 18 is what the 12 used to be. That's why in honor of my father, I always have 18 Chevis with me. Look, there you go. And I'm smoking his Don Carlos. But anyway, Jorge, I remember that day, and I would love to share it with the world with your permission. You said, let's have a drink in honor of our fathers. Listen, you had just lost your father. I had just lost my father a year earlier, 1 year apart. And I know that was probably, to me, that was the biggest terrorizing monster that weighed on me my entire life. How could I live without my father? And I know it's the same with you. It has to be. And it was. And you go there, you would like to have a drink with me? I said, yeah. And we're there talking, this and that. Where were you going, Chevis or Pinch? And I said, let's do it in honor of your father, because I was in the Padron office. If you would have come to my office, I would have convinced you, because you're an elegant gentleman, and you would say, let's have the Chevis 18. But anyway, we lit a cigar and we're talking about our fathers and everything, how much we miss them and everything, how we have to continue for the next generation, that we got to continue fighting the cause against all odds to save our history, our heritage. So much sacrifice, blood, sweat, and tears from so many people in our lives, everybody who's been involved, everybody who touched us. And I don't know who it was, but the conversation came up about we got to honor our fathers. And the conversation went there. And I don't remember it was you or it was me or whatever it was. I really don't.
The important thing is that it's here and we're going to do it. You know what I mean? That's the key here.
And I think there's no Opus X. There's no 20th anniversary. I don't think there's going to, the Padron 64, all these things. From what I feel already, this is going to be the biggest thing ever launched in the history of cigars, because I think it sends a message to many people. And the message that we've been fighting for, that your father fought for. Because remember, part of the beginning of the show, you talked about your father was more than a tobacco man. He cared about the people, just as you did with the Padron Foundation. They cared about the people, just like your father said, oh yeah, Carlito, come here before you go. 90 years old, whatever it was. You got a checkbook with you? Sign me a check right now. He didn't say, listen, I would like a contribution. He said, sign me a check right now friendo y comiendo, you
Yep.
know? And your family has been about the people. And I think we have so much in common. And I think that this is going to be the greatest thing, because this is going to leave a testimonial that is more than cigars. It's more than business. It's about reaching out to people and sharing our love with everybody and paying respect, paying homage to the integrity, to the honor of our families, to who we are, where we come from, and gratitude. Gratitude is a big word.
Gratitude.
And this is for our fathers. I want to say one more thing, because people have asked me, I see all the kind of stuff I don't answer, because it's hard to say. This is, well, what cigar? I'm not making a cigar for Carlito Fuente. I'm not making a cigar for Jorge Padron or Jeffrey or anyone in his family. And I'm making a cigar for Don Jose Orlando Padron, the cigar that I would think, if I had to give him one cigar, and I know he was a very discriminating consumer. He knew his shit. There's nobody knew more than him. He knew what he liked and didn't like. I'm making a cigar that, in my mind, spiritually, it's a cigar that smokers go up to the heaven and hug them and say, thank you for giving me a little brother like Jorge Padron. And the same smoke will go up to my father. It's the smoke that's going to rise and hug, but it's going to send a message to the rest of the world. It's more than just an industry of sales. We are true, hardworking families who really believe in our tradition, who pay respect to our heritage, we live and breathe and sleep tobacco, because that's the family that runs through our veins. Tobacco is our family, because it encompasses everybody we ever met, anybody we ever known, anybody who's ever hugged us, kissed us, our grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, aunts, godparents, whoever it is. And a lot of them are Hebrews. They're Jewish too. So Jeremiah, your dad, your grandfather, everybody, all around the world, tobacco is special. And this is our opportunity, Jorge Padron, to show the world how much we're grateful, how much we love them. And I only have one word to say. This was meant to happen. It's a destino. It's destiny.
It's destino, and as you said, this will be on forever. We will leave a mark with this product that hopefully people will understand that it wasn't just about the cigars, as we're saying, that there's a lot more to this. Absolutely. That goes forward for our kids, for my son, for my daughters, for my nephews, so that they see what this industry is all about.
Absolutely. And it's the way it always was. It was that way for 200 and something years, 300 years. When the Europeans discovered America, they were looking for gold and spice and everything. Tobacco was the treasure, the sacred leaf. And our industry is about that. And you have it in your blood as I have it in my blood. We have to defend it, because too many people want to erase history. And if you don't document history, if you don't fight for your history, it will be changed. And that is my responsibility and yours and our children to follow. And we will fight to our last breath to make sure nobody takes away our history, our heritage, our culture, and our heart and soul.
Hopefully our families are listening to this conversation right now, because these things aren't things that you have to feel it, you have to experience it, you have to go through this in order to be able to one day down the road, 20, 30 years from now, we're not going to be around, and there's going to have to be other family members to step up and take responsibility and understand what's important and how these companies have gotten to where they've gotten to. As you mentioned earlier, to show gratitude. I mean, my dad always said that there were 3 things that a man had to have, right? 3 characteristics that he felt were important in every man or woman or in every person. To be, number 1, to always respect their family name. Okay. Number 2, to always be grateful. Always be grateful to those people that help you when you need help. You never forget those people, and you always pay that back. And then finally, to be humble, to show humility. Those 3 things are the 3 things that my dad always focuses his life on, right? And those 3 things that is what he instilled in our family. And that's what hopefully by us working together, this will show the world and all these consumers out there that the cigar industry is much more than just the cigars themselves. There's a history and there's a story behind every product that's out there. And this product, I think, will leave a lasting memory of what it is to be in the cigar industry. And that's why I'm so excited to do it. I think that that's the true message here, that this is a product that will transcend this time period now when it's launched. And hopefully 20, 30 years from now, people will be talking about this product as if it's the best product they've ever had. And not only will it be a great product, but it'll also have a good story, and people will hopefully understand, what this industry is all about.
I just wrote that down because I don't want to forget, because your words are beautiful and they're deeply felt. There's two words. They're very important. Lasting memory. A memory and lasting memory documented that will transcend generations. Not only the past, it will connect the past with the future. And if we're able to achieve that with this very, very special product, someone's going to own not only a piece of the past, they're going to own a piece of the future. It's going to be something so special. And I am so proud, Jorge Padron, to have you as a brother, a friend, and now collaborating with you on this great, great, great creation, this launch, this idea to bring so many people together around the world and to spread the love. And I think there's nothing more that the Padron family has done now for over 50 years, as well as my family. Then that's what we work for, spread the love.
All right. Well, hey, we're talking a mean game, brother. We gotta make sure we step up to the plate.
Well, you know what? I've been thinking back in my mind, those cigars.
We're creating some pretty hefty expectations here, man.
Hey, wait. The cigars are in the age room. I'm going to go back and smoke them. And if I have to make another cigar, I whatever it is. I'm scared as shit, man. But you know what?
Fear is good, man. Fear is good. It's gonna drive us to
fear is, I've said many times in this show, fear is what motivates me, is what keeps me up and keeps me thinking. The fear to let my father down, the fear to let my family down, the fear to let my industry down, the fear to let my heritage down. Fear, some people look down on fear, but to me, I don't ever want to be able to overcome fear. I always want to be scared as shit and keep on doing the best I can, even if it's not good enough. That's my drive.
Carlito, as you said earlier, and my dad said to me many times, the tobacco is in our blood already, brother. We're gonna do the right thing here. There's no fucking question about it. All right, trust me.
Absolutely.
This shit's gonna be a home run.
Absolutely.
And I've said it, and I believe it, and I think people will understand it, and I think people will be happy with it. And I think hopefully this COVID shit will be over, so we can smoke one of these cigars at some point with a good scotch, and we'll have to have plenty of scotch, because we're gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to smoke both cigars, and you're gonna have to smoke both cigars. So we'll have to have Pinch. We'll have to have Chivas.
I'll send some 43 from Europe.
The first time
this cigar better be fucking good, guys.
Listen, the first cigar that we smoked together, okay, we're gonna smoke the same cigar, and we're gonna have when we smoke your dad's cigar, we're gonna have the Chivas, and then when we smoke my dad's cigar, we're gonna have a Pinch. And hopefully, when we get to do that, we'll have a big party. We'll have a lot of people with us to enjoy it, and it'll be a comfortable thing, casual, like we like to do things, man.
Familia, family. But I just want to add one thing so people don't get confused. I'm not going to smoke your cigar until that's ready to be put in a box, and that I have no say so.
Yeah. That's the plan.
And there's no way that you're going to smoke my cigar until it's already done deal, because the cigar is not being made.
This
for
is
you.
Blind faith here. This is blind faith.
It's not being made for me. It's a cigar that I'm blending, thinking of your father. What would he accept? What would he say? Kiddo, oye, muchachito. It's not a bad cigar. If your father tells me in my dream, oye, this is not a bad cigar, el tabaco esto no está malo, ¿sabes? Se puede fumar, then I know I accomplished something.
That's it.
That's what I'm looking for.
You got that right you hit it right on the head there, man.
I know those old men. I know those old timers. But you know what? It's going to have his name on the band. and it's got to have his signature. So maybe he might look at it differently and be a little more lenient, be a little bit more affectionate to me. And
well, I don't want to break your heart, but remember, my dad was not one of those guys. If you hear nothing from him, it's because it's a fucking kick-ass cigar.
I know. This is beautiful, man. What a show. This is unbelievable.
All right, we're gonna take a little break here because we're gonna pull in our old friend Rich Myberg for the joke of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rich Myberg.
Hey, thanks everybody. Melanie told me to keep it short because we're running long as usual. Real fast, Liana, check the color of the paisley shirt because Fuente men wear pink. And for your Tia, I hope that she got that bottle I left for her last week in Tampa. This week, a friend of mine works in one of those adult stores, and the door opens up and a lady comes in with a walker, and she is shaking and trembling, and she walks up to the counter. He says, "Ma'am, can I help you?" She says, "Yeah. Do you sell the dildos?" I says, "Yes, we do. Do you have a pink one that's about 10 inches long and 2 inches around?" He says, "Yes, we do." She says, how the hell do you turn the damn thing off?" Okay.
All right. Thank God we're broadcasting from Switzerland.
Yes, thank God.
Thank you very much, Rich.
Rich,
Well, next week.
It's you and Brenda again.
Thanks,
George.
Rich.
George, a good mutual friend's been watching online. Frank Plata's been watching today. So
All right. Hey, Frank.
Wait. Where's Ambassador Mr. Plata? He disappeared.
He's been very busy with family stuff and business.
Frank,
He's online now.
I miss Frank showing up no matter what part of the country he's in. Could be New Orleans, could be anywhere. He drives, he doesn't fly, he goes in his Cadillac, and then he opens his trunk and he has all the wines and whiskeys and everything. I miss those days, Mr. Frank Plata, and Embajador de Nicaragua.
See?
Yeah, I want to say one more thing because I failed to mention a very important person in my family that I think is the backbone of this family. My mother, Flori, I'm fortunate that she's still with us and she's still alive. And my mother put up with a lot of stuff from my dad while this business was being built. And I can't ask for a woman that is more secure, more confident in herself. And that I remember when my father would go to Nicaragua and spend, he would spend 30 days at a time when I was, in elementary school. And my mother would be home alone, and she was always supportive of my father. She was very inclusive of everyone in the family. She always explained to us that my father was not here because he was working. And she basically gave me a very stable home. And there is no way that we would be, or that I would be where I am today, were it not for her and for all the sacrifices that she made. And she continues. Now she's obviously retired, and she's alive and she's here, and I spend a lot of time with her. But, my father always told me of how important her role was in the creation of this company. A woman that has always been behind the scenes. She didn't care for any type of, publicity or anything like that. She understood that my dad was the king in this regard, and he was the one that was, and it didn't faze her. And I think that behind every strong man, there has to be a strong woman to allow these to happen the way that they happen. So I just want to thank Mom.
Jorge Padron.
Gracias, Mami.
Jorge Padron, I have to say the following. Flori, not only she's a beautiful woman, and that's another thing that we have in common. And probably what we have most in common. Flori is so much like Ana Luisa, my mother. She was there, man. I tell you, there was weeks she wouldn't see my father. And Cynthia and I, Cynthia talks about on the show. One day my mother says, "Hey, Daddy doesn't come home. Pack some clothes or your pajamas. We're going to the factory." My father would sleep on top of bales and everything. He'd fall asleep, take a shower in the room where they cased tobacco. And the next day we were there in a little corner. Without the women in our lives, our mothers who have sacrificed so much for believing in their husbands and their families, bro, that's old school. That's old school. So that's another thing. I think the most important thing we have in common, Ana Luisa and Flori, two women who have been the backbones of our family. Thanks for mentioning your mom. I thank you.
Well, guys, the whole world, all the cigar lovers and sisters of the leaf heard today from Jorge and Carlito how this the ideas of this collaboration started. We'll have to wait till next year, and we know they're going to make an amazing cigar. And one last thing I want to say, I was on a show the other day, and they asked me, if you were to do the Mount Rushmore of cigars, who would be the 4 people you would put on? First person I said was the only Cuban living legend, Benji Menendez. Then Don Jose Orlando Padron. Then Don Carlos Fuente. And maybe the less recognized of the 4, Don Fernando Leon. So I think those are 4 people that we all have the utmost respect for the 4 of them, for what they've done for the industry. And the only one living is Benji, and we had him on the show. It was great. But the only thing I can tell you, Jorge, for us, it's been a pleasure. I've always had a good relationship with you, respected, talk with your father 2 or 3 times or more with you. But what you guys have done, the tradition, the integrity, the humbleness, and probably without a doubt, like I put on my Facebook, the 2 most recognized family-owned business in the world without any doubt. I think this sends a very clear message of what we're about. It's all about family, the mothers, the fathers, the hard work that both families have gone through. So thank you very much for accepting our invitation. I hope to see you at the PCA next year. And maybe I can get a sample from you and maybe one from Carlito, but who knows? It's tough time.
Maybe not.
Professor, you got to stop
think so.
smooching, man.
You have to buy this incredible design of a humidor that is going to be available in. So that's a discussion for another day, Jose. We'll figure something out.
Something tells me that we better get a couple cases of this scotch, because we're going to have a lot of talking going on in the next few months.
I get it.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
I'm going to be getting some phone calls to send over those 43% scotches from Europe, right?
Jose, this is something George and I have been discussing. This represents our history and also represents the future history. This is not a cigar. This is a total package of something very special, of symbols, of moments, of something that represents both of our families. It's something that is really incredible, that's never been done before. And when you see the outcome and you see the results, you understand it's something so unique, but it's going to bring so much pride to the person that ends up having ownership over this, to be able to share with the world that they are one of very few that's able to be able to have this in their possession. It's going to be a total package of different things. It's going to commemorate the past, the present, and the future. That's never been done before.
I have to agree.
Say, Carlos. 100%, man.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Before we wrap up the show, we're going to get Melanie back on to make sure that every single one of you out there who's on the show and who's not on the show knows how to watch this thing, because we are getting so many questions. How do we watch the rerun? How do we watch the rerun?
Send me the link.
Send me the link. Melanie, will you please update the world on how to watch this thing and make sure they get a glimpse of Carlito Fuente, of George Padron, of the professor, and of myself, and of course the beautiful Melanie Cisco and Rich. How can we get a taste of the rerun?
All right, wait. Now I got to put Jeremiah in the hot spot. Jeremiah, you don't have this link attached to your banners? that you can
Oh,
put on the ticker tape.
oh shit. Hold on. Here we go. All right, guys, there it is.
I'm like- okay, so let's see, what does it say? There it is. Okay, guys, you know all our YouTube most important. That will be the longest platform. Okay. Generations on and on and on. So make sure that you go and subscribe to that channel. Right now the sun is beaming on me. So I'm gonna make this quick. Make sure you subscribe to that channel and share it. Share, because this is a legacy and we really appreciate you, Mr. Padron, for coming on here and being amazing and the most views we've ever gotten. So everybody watching, thank you. You can go to
Melanie,
our Facebook
Melanie.
page.
Where's your
Yes.
yellow sunglasses? What's your yellow sunglasses? I'm here just waiting for you. I thought you
I
were in
know.
the pool. I was gonna be ready for the bright sunlight.
Wait, you know I always get a memo for this.
I know you get a memo. It's okay, but you haven't got the pink slip yet. You're doing great, sweetie.
No.
We
But
love
we
you.
are working on the pink. Now, let me tell you guys, I'm going to remind you again, you can go and buy these off of the website from Liana's website. So go to her Facebook page or look up Liana or send me a message and I will get you the link. Either way. But those $10, those are $14. You need a mask anyway. So $10 of it is going to go and support her and her cause and breast. Everybody loves the tatas, right? I mean, you know, we got to keep them around for men and women. So find us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Professor Show. Please go to our YouTube channel. It's tinyurl.com/The Professor Show. This is really not difficult. I tried to go into the same thing. All right. Love you guys. Bye.
All right. While we're still on the subject, make sure that everybody joins Liana Fuentes' cause. She's fighting against breast cancer. She's put together a hell of a movement. And this is very important. Everybody log on to her Facebook page, go on to her Instagram account, follow what she's doing. She is making miracles. She's bringing in money. She's helping the cause. Everybody get behind Liana Fuentes. This is extremely, extremely important. It's something which touches everybody, and it's something which everybody can relate to, unfortunately. So make sure you get on Liana Fuentes' Instagram account, Liana Fuentes' Facebook page, and make sure you back her in the cause she's fighting for right now.
Jeremiah, sorry, I'm trying to get to the microphone. Maybe it's not necessary. But one thing I want to add to this that I think is going to be a lot of fun, but it's also very important. Liana lost her aunt at a very young age. Beautiful, beautiful lady. She just lost her grandmother. Beautiful lady, blue eyes, blonde, but not beautiful outside, beautiful inside. She was always. I just heard Liana the other day on the show. Her grandmother, when she was diagnosed with stage 4, she didn't want her husband to know because her husband's handicapped and she took care of him. She was already 82 years old, but she was solid as a rock. And she went to Liana, but she knew Liana was, well, it's a long story, but she wasn't crying. She said, Liana, you think I could buy half a bra and get a discount, pay 50%? This was her sense of humor. And this is the old school. Those people who have come from working hard and everything. It's always a sense of humor life. And Liana, if she raises $40,000, she is committed that she's going to take all her hair off. And my daughter's hair right now goes to here or the ear. But if I pull on it, it'll go past her waist. She's got the most beautiful hair. It's one thing about my daughter, her hair. She got the hair. I wish I had the hair. Thank God she didn't come out like me, man. I got to spend a lot of money for my hair. But anyway, she's got the hair. And no, seriously. And my daughter, Liana, is committed. If she raises the money, she's going to take all her hair off and donate it because her grandmother, when she found out she had a choice to have treatment and prolong her life, she says, no, I can't. I'm sorry, but in my state, I don't want to lose my hair because my husband loves my hair. It comforts him touching my hair. I can't be without hair. So my daughter, Liana Fuente, Liana Garcia, I hate this shit. I don't want to go there. Especially he's a Yankee guy. Anyway, my daughter, Liana Garcia, she's going to donate all her hair if she reaches $40,000. And her father, Carlos Fuente, is the one who's going to be there to shave it off. Take all those beautiful locks. They're going to be donated for the cause for somebody to with her hair, they'll make 3 or 4 hair pieces. It's gonna be beautiful. But she's gonna be bald, okay? And that's her commitment to this. So whatever you could do, man, just to give her the support, it means the world to me. That's why I'm wearing pink, and I wear pink all the month. And I've learned in life that real men wear pink, because as Jorge Padron said, behind every strong man, there's a very powerful woman. We would be nowhere without the women in our lives.
Well, guys, it's been an amazing show, without a doubt. Next week, we're going to have a very special guest that's friends of all of us here. Big Abe from Smoke Inn is going to be our guest for next week. It'll be an exciting show, and Abe's a character. We all love Abe, and I think it's going to be a big show. And I'm
Maybe
wearing
magic for us, because he reminds you of the genie from Aladdin.
I'm wearing pink today also.
Okay.
In honor of Eliana.
No, you know what? Abe he's tremendous. He's the best of the best. But I used to be scared as shit of him, because he reminded me of the genie. Just
I'm
like
I'm still scared of him.
You know, I know. But you know what?
I'm still scared of him.
But in life, you learn some of the biggest and scariest people are the sweetest, biggest hearted, the softest. He's nothing but a big Pillsbury Doughboy. You see him with his kids all the time, up and down with his children and the van and everything. He's a big Pillsbury Doughboy. I love Abe. So next week will be a great.
I have a lot of respect for him too. He's done a hell of a job building that business.
Oh, he's
a hard worker.
Yeah,
and like you say, he's a big teddy bear.
He is. He's a huge teddy bear. Absolutely, and we love him. All of us.
Love you, Abe. If you're listening.
You.
Oh, he's listening.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, George. It's that
All
time
right.
of the day. We're gonna have to
Guys.
get you back. We're gonna have to get you back on the show, because, you know, we usually have an hour slot. We're almost at an hour and 40 minutes, so they're gonna throw us off soon. But you know, obviously, you know, we can't express our gratitude enough. Not only for you coming on the show, but, you know, for you being you. Every time I see you, you look more and more like your dad. Every time I hear you, you speak more and more like your father. You're going to become a real pain in the ass, but a very wise and a very, very strong one. And
hey, you could give me no greater compliment than what you just said.
I know. And that's exactly, you know, the reason I've done so. And I've done so from the way the Marifels do it, from the bottom of the heart and with sincerity. There wasn't much bullshit in the family, and you knew it quite well. But thank you for everything. Thank you for being what you are. Thank you for representing what you represent. Thank you for being one of the last remaining pillars in our industry who have the balls to move forward in the way you move forward, George. And you know, you speak about the future. The future is going to be very bright for you, because the example you're showing and the benchmarks that you're setting are the ones that are necessary for you to have a legacy moving forward. And for all of the guys up there looking down, I'm sure they're doing it with an enormous smile on their faces. So make sure you give a big hug to the one who puts up with you at home, because without her, you wouldn't be fucking anywhere. Make sure you give a huge hug to your mother and to the entire family. And on behalf of the Marifel family, we send you all of our love. And we hope that we're going to be together very, very soon. I hope. I really hope so.
Jeremiah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. It's my pleasure. And I'm going to pop Carlito on now, because I'm sure he has a word or two.
Papo, what can I say, man? Papo, te quiero. I'm so proud of you. You know, I know that we think that we could never fill our father's footsteps. Our dream is to follow. We can never fill our father's shoes. Never fill his shoes. Our dream is to follow the footsteps. And I look up to you, not look down, look up to you, even though that you're much younger. And I never will forget the day, I think it was Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. The day I see 2 young kids coming in who I had not seen. I knew about them, but I had never seen them. They walk into the show, they go to a bar, and I said, my name is Padron. My father's this and that. I said, kids, welcome to the family. Welcome to this. And we had a conversation briefly, but I was so proud to meet you for the admiration of your father that I had not seen since Nicaragua, probably, or before. Or maybe if I seen him, it was like quick because you guys were not going the first time. And that was you, Jorge Padron, who told your father, hey, papi, if we're going to be outside of Miami, we got to sell cigars. We got to go to the RTDA and this and that. So that's one of the things that you convinced him on, okay? Because he was fine where he was, and he was doing damn good. They were doing better than anybody else in the whole industry. And I remember I saw and you said, my daddy's coming. My father will be here tomorrow. And that whole show, I waited to give him a hug. And the reception.
I remember that.
I would never forget.
It was in the lobby. It was in the lobby of the hotel. I'll never forget it.
Yeah. Okay. When I met him, yes, or whatever. I mean, not when I met him. When he came and he told me, "Oye, Carlito." Okay. Whatever you need tobacco, whatever it is. Yo soy el león. Yo soy el león. Whatever is mine is yours, bro. That's the relationship we have. It doesn't start. Like you said, this is something that just is natural, it's organic, it's destiny. The relationship, the respect that goes back to the old days of the late 60s when everybody's trying to sell their cigars and get the best place in all the grocery stores and all the cafeteria and Calle Ocho and all through Miami and all through all the different areas. It's a relationship, the respect. The time that I saw your father in Motel Esteli, Motel Chico.
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 He used to play dominoes there at night.
Yeah. My father.
With all the Cubans that were there.
Yeah, exactly. The few Cubans that were there. Exactly.
I remember, you know how many nights I spent in that hotel in the lobby waiting for him to finish playing dominoes when I was 8-10 years old? Bro. I used to hate going to that damn place. Bro.
The lobby was the Ritz-Carlton of Four Seasons. I slept in those little rooms there, okay? That I thought would get electrocuted every time I had to get on the shower.
The shower.
Sparks going everywhere. Come on, so
that was definitely not OSHA compliant, man. That thing.
No. But the thing is, we go back always, and we see that the respect and everything. And I remember that day, you and your brother Orlando, you came in. Oh, I'm Jorge Padron and this and that. We're first time here in Orlando, and you said the old man will be here tomorrow. I said, Papa, I got to see him, man. I got to give him a hug. And your father, when he saw me, because he remembered me as a little boy in Nicaragua, maybe, whatever, el hijo de Carlito. Your father hugged me and everything. He said, oh, yeah, let me tell you, you need anything, whatever it is. We were struggling. We're trying to grow in the business at that time. I don't know where we were at. But he says, maybe we weren't struggling at that time, but whatever. But just your father, the respect he had and the respect he had from my father and the way he always wanted to help the one coming up who he believed in because he knew me. I always asked him, what do you think about this? How was Cuba? What's this or that? And the time I spent with your uncle, with Estelo, I used to live in his house where they had the bullet holes in the little sala when he was with Villazón and Danlí. I used to be there. He was one of my professors because Ángel Oliva, he gave me the opportunity to be with all these great masters. And I remember your father says, oh, yeah, I want you to know something. Anything you need for you, I won't give it to anybody else. But anything you need of mine is yours because yo soy el león. And I said, sí, señor. León. So if you know your father and you knew him at that time, you know those conversations are real.
Absolutely, man. My dad didn't bullshit anyone. He was a straight shooter, man.
Yeah, he's the best, man. The very best. And I'm so blessed to have known him. And I'll tell you one thing. I'm so blessed that he gave me a brother again, and he gave me a friend, and he gave me a colleague in my industry who shares the same principles, the same integrity, the same philosophy to be able to achieve my greatest dream in life, my mission in life, to be able to leave something for the next generation. So all that hard work, those blood, sweat, and tears of everybody who's been around for hundreds of years, 50 years, 150 years, in both of our families. Because Padron was 1964, but your family goes back generations in Cuba.
Yeah.
And for all those that have brought us this position, it's a responsibility that we have to pay tribute to them and to the best we can. But it's also our responsibility. What they have done for us is to pass it on to the next generation.
That's correct. And that's the plan here.
That's the plan.
Listen, Carlito and Jeremiah, and Jose and everybody, thank you very much for including me in this show. Jeremiah, thank you for the wonderful words. I've always tried to do things the right way and work hard to preserve the work and the legacy of my father. Every decision I make is based on that. Maybe one day I'll get to the status that he had, but that status was earned, and I know I have to earn it. And every day I wake up with that in mind. So we still got a long way to go, but this is certainly one thing that'll be another step to get there. And as Carlos mentioned, this will be something that hopefully our kids will look at proudly and say, you know what, our fathers did something amazing here, and that's and our families will do the same, and that's the goal. So, Carlito, I love you, brother.
I love you.
Thank
too.
you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity to work together and getting this shit done. All right. Thanks again, guys. Love you.
I love you too. Amen, Pablo.
On those words, ladies and gentlemen, there's no words to say what it was. This was one of the most unbelievable shows in the life of our show. Ladies and gentlemen, Fuente and Marifel present Meet the Professor, starring George Padron. Thank you very much, George. Until next time, next Sunday, same place, same time. Take care of yourselves and of others. And remember, if you don't do it with passion, don't do it at all. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, guys.
Love you, bro.
Thank you, Jorge.
All the best to everyone. God bless.
Thank you.